the biggest challenge I had was, consistently talking about behavior, consistently talking about where's the data that shows that this is being used, because 97% of technology that is built and coded is not used.
So hello everyone. Today we have Ritu David here with us, who is the founder at the Data Duck and Alumbloom. I've known Ritu personally for a very long time, and she's one of my mentors. And Ritu, couldn't be happier to have anyone else but you today here with us.
Thanks, Deeksha, for having me, and thank you, HSBC and everyone else for giving me this platform to speak about my journey.
So Ritu, the Data Duck has always helped people create products, apps, platforms that are meant to be used in a very user-friendly manner. Mm-hmm. So talk to us about that journey and also the entire shift from Australia to India. And when you set up Data Duck, I'm sure there must have been a ton of challenges. So, kind of run us through some of those challenges that you faced.
One of the first challenges I faced was going at tech with a design and data lens. So a lot of traditional IT when we started 15 years ago was very, you've done IT at university and then you move up, and data wasn't that big a play then, and neither was design or user or consumer. So a lot of the IT systems that were built by IT for IT. Yeah, starting up in India was really challenging for me personally. It was challenging for me more as a human being than as a founder. I'd have to say getting used to the chaos and the jugaad and all of that took some time. And I also came with my own preconceived ideas of what I need to do when in India. So one of the biggest challenges for me was that I was so focused on impact that somewhere I lost my business sense along the way, because I'm like, oh, I'm in India, I need to have impact, I need to do something with farmers, and I ran to ag tech and I didn't know anything about it, and I came from a services space and I was trying to build product for farmers whom I've never met before. I don't know their lives, I'm trying to solve their problems. And I'm doing it just out of this notion in my head that if I move to India, I need to do something with impact. Now I realize just being able to provide a healthy workspace that facilitates growth and gives employment to hundreds of people is in itself enough impact. And while we do have our low bono, pro bono projects, I don't have to create a whole company based out of impact. So that was one big learning for me.
It's so ironic that you say that, because we're focusing on a lot of women who are building growth stage companies, and women in impact always comes together, right? I think it's just, one of those traits that we bring in as founders. Ritu, even with everything that you started, I see that data has kind of been the epicenter of everything that you do, right? So talk us through why, that has been so important for you. Why did you choose to create around data as a space?
Growing up, I grew up as the only brown kid, and I was picked up on a lot, so there were pieces of data that my dad would start my day with. Then going into university, because I was also very focused on math, I did data science at university. At that time, big data wasn't there, so it was actuarial science. And we just worked with data a lot. And, even when it came to simple, small data sets, like where should we go for dinner in our friends group, we would always just vote and use that data point to choose where we went for dinner. And I feel that today data can be quite intimidating, but small data sets are there that can really help us make product better. And that's what I am most enthusiastic about. It's using small data sets to guide us to create product for consumers, the end consumers, and ensure that they're with us throughout the build process.
No, absolutely. I think data brings a lot of longevity to anything that you're building, right?
Absolutely.
Whether it's for any stakeholder that's involved. Ritu, the last year, and of course even the current year as we see it, has seen a big shift in terms of the way we work, right? We've gone from having great office spaces to now virtually working remote teams. How has that turned out for you at the Data Duck and your teams?
I'm going to bring out my inner economist and say on one hand and then the other hand. So on the left hand, the positives, I don't have to pay rent at the moment, which was a massive fixed cost for me. And I can move that to talent. I can move that to learning. So that's been fantastic. Another great thing is that there are a lot of people who in Mumbai, traveling 2 hours one way is not an abnormal thing. So I am saving 3 hours in my day from commuting. So all of that time has been sort of, and that stress has been taken away. On the other hand, a lot of developers do come from backgrounds that aren't always facilitate a room per person. So when you have 4 or 5 people working out of one room, so working from home, what it means to you and it means to me is very different. So they don't always have constant electricity. They don't always have constant access to internet. And that has definitely created a sense of frustration because you're trying to get your work done, but you can't hear or you can't connect, you can't, the electricity is off. And then it's also created a sense of a real divide in the haves and the have-nots, because the haves are showing up consistently and the have-nots are, struggling. Yeah, so I think these times are exacerbating a lot of, the divides that we have. But they're also bringing us together in a common humanity, which is beautiful.
I'm completely in sync with everything that you said, right? It's just brought out the human side of things. And I think empathy is something that, we're all at a high at right now, because just understanding our co-workers is what will give us, the power to actually make better work colleagues. So thank you, so much for sharing that. Ritu, banks as such have really evolved, right, in terms of the kind of work that they do, and just from being lending, institutions, they've grown to so much more. Yeah. In your professional experience, how do you think banks can support founders, stakeholders, and what role would you like them to play for someone like you to scale up?
So I have been sort of anxious about equity and debt and have never taken either. And I would love for a bank to sort of mentor me through my journey, perhaps, and, showing me why debt may facilitate, taking on a debt instrument might facilitate my growth. And, remove the anxieties I have around. Also, what I realized just before the end of financial year, we held a learning for the people in our company to talk about tax, savings, how they can invest, etc. And a penny dropped that I have never, ever thought about my personal saving. For me, it's I'm not really sure where my money is between all these, between all these things that we're doing at the Data Duck and Alumbloom. And it would be fantastic if we could have women mentors from banks talk to us about, hey, I'm a working professional. This is what I do. I save X% outside. I'm so tempted to put everything I make back into my company, but maybe I need to diversify. So those are some things I think banks can really help us do. Another thing is that we've recently gone into digital marketing, and it requires us to have a credit card. A corporate credit card is a nightmare to get. It's very tough to get. And another thing, my employees can get higher credit limits than me because it's based on income and I don't pay myself. an income. I just take whatever because it's a proprietorship. So if I want to get a credit card, I was told that I need to change it to a private limited, especially those of us who are spending on behalf of our clients and putting money up front. We do need that additional cash flow. So I think facilitating cash flow, facilitating, how can a woman founder ensure that they're investing in diversified assets. And the third thing is, just talking to us about accepting more help from the system, because we are very nervous, generally. Risk averse.
No, Ritu, and you're very humbly putting that forward, right? In your entire journey, I'm sure there have been those nuggets of wisdom that you have stuck to. Would be great if you can kind of share what your mantra has been throughout your journey.
Well, I'm not sure if this works or it doesn't, but it's just the mantra that I go with. I don't know, I sort of fall in love with everyone who joins my team. And I sort of look at them like my babies, and a lot of people tell me that this is ridiculous, and it's stressful. You can't have 150 babies. You can't look out for their emotional growth and stability, their professional growth and stability, their personal growth and stability. And I understand that as I scale, I need to potentially wind back the amount of love and investment I have on every individual person and make it more a system process. But for some reason, I love everyone in our team, even though some of them drive me mad, right? At times. At the end of the day, I go to sleep and I love them. It's not about gratefulness or gratitude. It's pure love.
And I think we need more of, compassionate founders out there. Ritu, thank you so much for sharing everything with us in terms of your journey, learnings, and what you'd like to see as being changed in the ecosystem. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.